Oh, hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Chris's Corner. I am your host, Chris Corner, joined again by Todd.
Hello!
Hey, there's a good hello. A good hello from Todd. So welcome to Spoiler Talk for fucking Suicide Squad. I totally forgot the name of the movie for a minute. So obviously, you know, if you did watch the quick review we did, it was about 5 minutes long. We both enjoyed Suicide Squad. We thought it was pretty good. Character development in this was, well, there wasn't much need for character development, and they kind of shoehorned some in at the end, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
But I really liked it. So opening up, I think opening up the way that they open the characters here in this one, because they don't give you background much on these characters at all. They kind of just throw you into it with little bits of flashback at the beginning and throughout a bit the movie. But the only characters they really focused on were Deadshot and Harley Quinn.
For the most part, yeah. And I don't think the other characters really needed a ton of backstory.
No.
A lot of movies now, they're spending the first half of the movie giving you backstory and all these excessive reasons for what they do, and you don't want it. We already know the characters.
Yeah, well, like,
so just get into it, yeah.
All the Spider-Man reboots.
All the Spider-Man
Oh.
reboots.
But yeah, no, like, that was it. I think that's great, and I think that's a good thing that people need to realize, is you don't need to do all this crazy character development to make a good movie. Like, a lot of these people, like, mainstream people aren't going to understand. You know, people might know Deadshot from watching Arrow and stuff like that, but non-comic fans aren't going to know too much about Harley. They're not going to know Captain Boomerang, like, at all.
I was a surprise to me.
Yeah, see, and I mean, but I didn't think, like, it was unnecessary. You're getting thrown into this ragtag group of people who are getting forced into this crazy situation. And, I mean, I think they started that off really well. I mean, they show all the characters kind of in prison, mostly Deadshot and Harley, because they're the only ones anybody really cared about. A little bit of Killer Croc, and Killer Croc, they did awesome with Killer Croc.
I think they did that really well, yeah.
I really like that they used practical makeup on him for this and not CG. I think that was a great choice.
I always prefer practical effects over CGI.
Yeah.
Every time,
yeah. And I really wish they used him more. I think they underutilized him a bit.
Maybe a little bit.
Pardon me. But yeah, we'll get more into that as we get through the movie. So opening scenes in this movie were great. I mean, it set up the characters enough, and it's mostly Amanda Waller talking about starting this Task Force X, aka the Suicide Squad as we know it. And in the comic books, it's been a thing since, well, the 80s is the more modern style of the Suicide Squad. But no, it was cool. Okay, I'm going to get into my biggest gripe right away.
All right.
The Enchantress.
Yes.
Okay, so the way they showed it in the trailers, they never really stated that the Enchantress was part of the squad, and it looked like she was going to be the villain, and she is the villain of this movie. And but not in the way that I thought, or I think it would have worked better had they done it a different way, because at the beginning they have Dr. June Moon, who is the Enchantress. They kind of talk about her, and they kind of show her off right away at the beginning of the movie, that she's this ultra-powerful, extra-dimensional being, and she has all this crazy power, and blah, 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 blah. And that she's being controlled because Amanda Waller, the leader of Argus and Suicide Squad, the person behind all that, who's a crazy, evil woman. Just badass, mean woman. I mean, I think that, and then she is being controlled, but then sneaks away and does shit, and then, like, revives her brother, and then her brother starts fucking shit up, and then, like, she fucks off from, like, Rick Flagg, because Rick Flagg's watching over her because he's in love with her, with Dr. June Moon, blah, 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 blah. And then, like, she has her brother heal her and give her power, and then it doesn't matter that they had the heart to begin with.
That threw me off, too.
Like, it felt weird, and I don't think it was necessary.
It felt like they didn't think it through the whole way.
No, and I think what would have been great, especially in the early trailers they showed. Did you watch the early trailers for the movie?
Yeah.
I think it would have been cool to see that was the reason they came together, is Dr. June Moon gets possessed by the Enchantress, and she starts developing these powers and becoming the Enchantress.
Have her the antagonist from the start.
From the beginning.
Don't have her
just kind of
thrown into this group and then pulled away right at the start.
Right at the start of the
Either
movie.
that, or just do a gradual change from in the group and then shifting slowly more to evil, and then becomes the villain.
Yeah, it was just weird because she was like being forced, and then it didn't matter anyway.
It didn't matter. 5 minutes in, she wasn't part of it anymore. So her being part of the group was never made a difference.
No, it didn't. I think it would have been a smarter choice on their part to have her, like, get the power, and that's why they had to assemble the team, because she started fucking shit up, rather than, well, that's kind of why they still had to assemble a team. But it would have been better just to have her as the villain and just start it. Like, take 10 minutes of the beginning and show her getting possessed by the Enchantress and getting twisted and turned and start, like, losing her mind, because in the comic books, like, Dr. June Moon, like, loses her fucking mind, and even when she's pulled, like, the Enchantress taken out of her, she's still fucking crazy. And I think, and she's been back and forth in the comics, like, with the Enchantress and stuff. But I think that would have been a better way to show her as the villain, and then they wouldn't have needed to, like, kind of shoehorn the brother in who didn't do much. And
there was a bunch of relationships that didn't need to be there, and a bunch of things they did that they didn't need to do.
Yeah.
They could have made her the villain a lot easier.
Yes,
than they did.
Yeah, and that's my biggest gripe with the movie until we get into the last bit of the last act. But in the early film, that was the weirdest part for me.
Aside from that, I think the Enchantress was done very well.
I do.
The effects and how she was portrayed, and her speech, everything, her speech and everything was really, really well done.
Yeah. After she gets healed by her brother, and after her heart gets stabbed 1,000 times or whatever, like, her look changes, and she gets, like, wavy
arm flaily tube man.
Yeah. Why are you waving a inflatable arm flailing tube man?
She should be outside of a used car dealership.
Exactly. I think that was a little weird. But I mean, I liked the dirty look of the Enchantress. I like that because
really
she
nice and gritty and evil and mean.
And and you like, you can feel the intensity off her when she's like that, rather than when she's all, like, pristine and, like, with a weird headdress thing all done up. And I mean, I don't know. I kind of like the dark, gritty look of her. I think that's great. And I'm a fan. For anybody out there who does read the comic books, I'm a big fan of the magic aspect of the DC universe. So, like, you know, John Constantine, Zatanna, Etrigan, the fucking demon, the rhyming demon, who's amazing. And they're doing a Justice League Dark animated feature that I'm so stoked for. I'll show Todd the trailer for this afterwards, because it's going to be so amazing. And go see it if you haven't. It's still early development, but I recommend going to watch the little trailer that they do have. And I would have liked to have seen them do magic a little better in this, because of the way I know it from the comic books. It is really cool. It's really dark. It's really, really gritty. But I think they made it a little weird for this, especially for this as their first jump into magic.
A little too cartoony?
Yes!
Yeah.
A little too cartoony.
There were a lot of the movie would often jump into really cartoony and then go back to kind of gritty dark.
Yeah.
And then it would pull you out of the film for a minute and you remember you're watching a movie.
Yeah.
And then you get back into it. And that's most of what I didn't like about the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
The whole.
Yeah. Yeah, that, as you can tell, I was really disappointed with the Enchantress in this movie. I think the actress, though, I think she did a great job.
She did a really great job.
She did a great job. But yeah, I really like the part at the beginning when she's got, like, her hand on the table and she says Enchantress and the fingers come up and it twists over and then she's...
Effect. Yeah.
That was really cool. That was awesome. Good job for you guys doing that, David Ayer. Great job. Great choice. But yeah, and then they kind of start introducing the characters a bit, and I really liked the flashback for Deadshot with Batman.
Yeah.
Well, I liked the assassination at the begining, too. His cool little assassination. That was great. Conning the guy for an extra $1 million for being an asshole.
Well, they did a really good job of building some sort of sympathy for him while maintaining him as evil.
Yeah, like he's
but you still want him to win.
Yeah, because he kills people for money. That's what he does. And no, it was good, and especially I think Will Smith was a good casting choice.
Yeah, I think so.
Because I mean, he brings a little he brings his Will Smith-isms into the movie, which he's Will Smith, so of course he's going to bring his Will Smith-isms into the movie. But I think it worked for Deadshot, because a lot of time Deadshot's not as comedic in the comics and the other ways he's been interpreted. But I liked Will Smith as Floyd Lawton. I liked him as Deadshot, and they did because he wants his daughter, and that's been a big thing in like the New 52 arc, like of comics and things like that. He has the daughter and he loves his daughter, and I really like that he wants his daughter and he wants to care for his daughter and everything, get that away from the mother because the mother seems to be useless from what they've mentioned in this.
Yeah.
Just making sure my mic's on still. Because it died on me one time when I was recording. It was bad. But, no, and they really did make him a likable character for being a murderer.
A villain, yeah.
Yeah. And, no, but I really like the little cameo of Batman there. I liked that. I thought that was cool.
I was surprised how much Batman there was in the film, despite how little we saw of him in the previews. Yeah. In the trailers.
Yeah, like the way that Ben Affleck came in, I really like he glided in.
I'm really enjoying the Ben Affleck Batman.
I am too.
Despite what I thought it would be Ben Affleck Batman. When you hear about
Well, that's it, because everyone's like Daredevil. I'm like, well, Daredevil.
Give him a second chance.
Give him a chance here, but I mean, Daredevil again is when Ben Affleck was a little younger. His acting chops were still a little on the bad side. But I can't say shit. I'm not a Hollywood actor, am I? Nope. But no, and again, you have to remember, same thing with the Green Lantern movie. It's not the actor who ruins a movie. It's the writer-director combo that ruins a movie.
Who decides how the character is done
to be
and portrayed.
Yeah.
And animated.
No, exactly. Don't make the super suit green or animated. But no, and again, you have to look at that. That is not the actor doesn't ruin the movie. I mean, it's generally a bad movie to begin with, and both the Green Lantern and Daredevil movies were bad. But I mean, Ben Affleck, I think he's nailing it, and I think so far for the DC Expanded Universe movies that this is the best portrayal of Batman I've seen yet.
I would agree.
Because I mean, he uses his gadgets. Batman.
He fights like Batman.
He fights like Batman. Yeah, like Christian Bale did a fine job and everything like that. But I never got super into the Batman, like Christopher Nolan was. Like, I think they're good. I own them. But I mean, I think that this portrayal of Batman is much truer to the comics and a much better. Granted, take away all the murder from Dawn of Justice, and it looks like they're getting away from the murder now, which is probably a good thing. But I think it's the best portrayal of Batman we've seen yet, and I know I've said that before. And I think even the small part that Ben Affleck played there, I think that was awesome.
It made a huge difference.
It did. And then you get your little Harley Quinn origin bits. Shortly after that, you're introduced to Harley, who Margot Robbie is a beautiful, stunningly beautiful woman, a very talented actor, and I think she did a fantastic job as Harley. Like, she was batty. She was absolutely batty, but still smart as a whip. Mm-hmm. And there's a few points in the movie where she, like, you can see her, like, her Harleen, like, her psychiatrist mind kick on for a second.
Manipulating.
And she'll manipulate people, or she just says things out of her normal Harley tone. Like, there's the one point where she, it kind of near the third act there, when she's having a flashback, and she asks Deadshot, "Have you ever felt love before?" He's like, and Deadshot's like, "Oh, you don't sleep like a kitten if you feel a thing like love." And she's like, another typical sociopath. But she doesn't say it in that like crazy Harley voice.
She switched out of Harley and had a real moment, and then kind of gets scared and goes back.
Yeah,
I can't. Yeah,
that was. I really liked. I thought that was really cool, and I think that'll be a great thing that they can develop later on. But it was really cool to see the way that her little infatuation with the Joker when she brings him a little kitty and all that, and then she kind of is the driving force into breaking him out of Arkham Asylum. And I liked that they showed Arkham Asylum.
That was nice. Yeah.
It's really nice to actually see that, because Arkham Asylum, and anybody who knows Batman, that's a big deal in the Batman universe, and I think that was fantastic. And then the Joker, as you say, was a little overacted. We both kind of feel that way. I think he could have taken back on a couple of scenes, but I did like Jared Leto as the Joker. I think he did a pretty good job. The tattoos, like the
that was a nice little take on it. Yeah,
he was nuts, and I liked that he was nuts, but a crime boss in this one. Mm-hmm. Like, he wasn't just anarchy, like he has been shown.
He had a purpose and a drive.
Yeah, like he was a crime boss, like first and foremost, but he was an insane motherfucker too, and I think that was cool.
Just one of the downfalls of that was the relationship between Harley and the Joker wasn't as close to the comics as it usually is.
Yeah, like I felt
usually it's Harley completely infatuated by the Joker, and she'll do anything, and he's quite abusive and mean, and just takes advantage of her. And this one, it was almost not the other way around, but they were both head over heels for each other, which was interesting to see in the movie. I think it played out really well. But it wasn't really true to how Joker is
normally
usually
treats
written.
her.
Yeah.
Like, he'll play her and pretend to love her for a bit,
just to get what he needs, and then cast her aside.
Then he'll
do what he needs to.
Yeah, and it was interesting because they showed like a little bit of that, like when he throws her into the Ace Chemicals vat. Doesn't throw her, but makes her jump. Like, he turns around to walk away and let her die, and you can see him
reluctantly figures, I have to follow this through now.
Yeah, and he's like, well, I guess you don't even know, is it that maybe he wants the woman, or like somebody actually cares about him enough to do that, so I want to save her. It's hard to tell why he did it, but I mean, he does it, and he strips his jacket off and dives in to get her and pulls her out. And you could see that, like, he didn't plan on doing that. Mm-hmm. Like, and I thought that was nifty to see that he didn't plan on it, and then maybe he thought she'd be useful or something. Or if it was love, because they do really show the love aspect in this. Like, that he's going to break her out. He's his queen in this, and they even say that they were the king and queen of Gotham. And, but the other part is, the chase scene there through Gotham, which is downtown Toronto, which I was there when they were filming that, which was awesome, by the way. But yeah, no, I mean, Joker drives the Lamborghini off a bridge, and he leaves her there.
Yeah.
He just left her, and Batman gets her and takes her away, but he just fucking left her in the car. So, I mean, like, that, again, like, where does he stand with her, and then he fights so hard to get her back.
Yeah.
Like, it's really weird dynamic, but I really would like to see that. But no, I would have liked to have seen either more of a... okay, because we'll talk a little bit of Assault on Arkham here, because in Assault on Arkham, it's a DC animated feature based on the Suicide Squad. Like, Batman is in it. It's called Batman Assault on Arkham, but it's pretty much all the Suicide Squad. Batman's in there a bit.
Yeah.
And he's a little driving force near the end of the movie, but I mean, overall, it's mostly about the Suicide Squad, and Harley fucking hates the Joker, like, during the most of that movie.
Until they're together again.
Until they're together again at the end. And, but, like, she tries to shoot him and everything at one point in that because he was so abusive and just fucked her up so much. And she, like, sleeps with Deadshot in that animated feature and all that stuff. And I would have liked to see more of that Harley. Like, hating on the Joker for, like, leaving her or something rather than totally head over heels. But I did like the way that they did that.
Yeah.
I did still like Harley in this movie. Yeah, no, I think that Margot Robbie did a fantastic job. Her voice was pretty good. Again, it's really hard to do the voice that they do in all the animated features and in the games and stuff.
Without being a little over the top,
well,
but yeah.
Not only that, too.
Really
People forget Margot Robbie's not American. She's Australian, right?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so Margot Robbie's not American. So, I mean, that is an accent that she has to do, and anybody who knows how to do accents or knows how difficult it is to learn one, I mean, I think she did a fantastic job. Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of times where, like...
You could hear it coming through a little bit.
Because the way sometimes she tries to overdo it a bit when she says, like, Mr. J and pudding and stuff. And then kind of back to her normal American accent bit. But I think she did a fantastic job. Her character was great. She showed a lot of emotion and a lot of crazy, and it was great. Captain Boomerang. Hilarious.
Was a bit of a dark horse there, yeah. He was a big part of the movie, comedic relief and even just being a character in the forefront, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because, like, I wasn't expecting much. It's fucking Captain Boomerang, right? He did, like, when he was portrayed on The Flash TV show, the actor who played him did a great job. I think it was good. But in this, he was a really good comic relief character, and, like, that's the thing, he never even took himself too seriously. No, he's just constantly drinking beers and, like...
He's just trying to do the bare minimum to complete the task he was given so he can go back home.
Yeah, well, like, that's it. He just wanted out of prison, right? And I really like how he played Slipknot. Like, he played him like a fiddle. And that's a throwback to the old comics, because I made a joke saying, oh, Slipknot was a great character in a review, and fucking Slipknot's in it for all of, like, 3 minutes before he gets his head fucking blown off. Because fucking Digger Harkness, a.k.a. Captain Boomerang, plays him. He's like, oh, no, see this? Look, we're free, man. That thing in our neck, that's just a game. I'm going to cut and run. You're going to cut and run. And he makes him kind of take off. And then Slipknot gets his head blown off, and he's like, oh, fuck. Because he just wanted to test if it was real or not. And I thought that was really funny. And I like that he had the hots for Katana.
Yeah.
You got boyfriend? Keep boyfriend? You know, that was good. I think it's great. Because I'm not the biggest fan of Jai Courtney. The only other thing I've really liked Jai Courtney in was fucking Spartacus. Did you ever watch the Spartacus show?
Saw Spartacus.
Spartacus was great. Rest in peace, Andy Whitfield. You were fantastic. It was sad to see you go after the first season. Your voice opened the second season. He was a fantastic actor. May he rest in peace. But I mean, that was it. I mean, he tried the Die Hard thing, and he was kind of bad in Die Hard.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the newest Die Hard?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, and he was the son.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he was in Terminator Genesis, which was not good.
I thought it was all right. It was exactly what I expected it was going to be.
Yes.
And in that respect, I enjoyed it quite a lot.
Yeah, because I was expecting worse, so I didn't.
As a movie, it was terrible, but as a fourth Terminator movie,
you were expecting shit. So you got, shit, but it It was golden covered shit. That wasn't just a big rotting pile. So you get to see some glimmers in it. And it did have potential. But again, Jai Courtney, I didn't really like him as Kyle Reese, though. I think they should have picked someone a little better.
Yeah, there's quite a pool of people you can pick from, and he's at the bottom.
And again, also an Australian actor that gets cast in these American roles all the time. But no, he was really funny in this, and I really liked him. There's one point though where they kind of get set free, and he leaves, like bails out of this bar when they're drinking, and like Rick Flagg there just breaks the thing and says, "All right, you're all free to go," and he just fucks off. And then he comes back to the group. I'm like,
I wanted to see him stay gone.
Yeah, me too.
That would have been so much more true to his character. You're free to go. Okay, bye. And just leaves, and then we don't see him again ever. That would have been so great. And then he comes back. I was kind of disappointed because I'm like, that's not what a villain does.
And then it's not the character we've been shown so far.
Does, yeah,
like
I was really happy when he actually just got up and left. I'm like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then exactly. 5 minutes later, he's back fighting, and I'm going, don't,
Yeah, like he didn't really have a reason why. We'll touch on that when we get to the bar scene, because I want to talk about everybody's choice in that bar scene and how a lot of people disliked that, but I kind of understood where they were coming from in that. I think they should have played a little differently, but we'll get to that. And then what other character? Killer Croc was fucking awesome. I don't think they gave him enough screen time. Like, he's there, but they didn't give him enough dialogue and like character development.
No, not really.
Because they state that they treated him like a monster because he looked like a monster and he became a monster. So I would have liked to have seen him and they kind of do show his humanity at some point later on in the movie. But I would like to have seen a little more of that.
Yeah.
And I would have liked to see him fuck up some more people.
Going back to the Wolverine cameo in, what was the last X-Men movie?
Apocalypse.
Something like that, where he's going completely animal, just running through everybody. That would have been really nice to see, some sort of more like that, but you're right, he was a little bit held back, maybe?
Yeah.
But yeah, there were a lot of scenes that had potential, and then it would cut away.
Yeah,
I want to see more of that.
You see him beat up some people, like some of the mutant alien enchantress things, whatever she did to these people. And I would have liked to have seen him just rip people in half and do some crazy stuff, because he's big. And just rip their throats out and stuff. Because you see him mess up a couple of people with his teeth and whatnot.
But it's more just bar brawling, through.
I would have liked to have seen him a little bit more. And I hope in future installments or anything if they do use him, I'd like to see more Killer Croc, please. Again, no real backstory for him. Just they threw him in there.
Yeah, this is Killer Croc.
Yeah. And who else do we have? Rick Flagg. Let's talk about Rick Flagg.
Okay.
What did you think of Rick Flagg?
A necessary evil?
Yeah,
kind of. I didn't think the relationship between him and the Enchantress, or her
June
name was June Moon, I don't think it was really needed. It served its purpose, but the movie could have been just as good without him, I feel.
Yeah, so he has the switch to kill them all, and he kills Slipknot when he has to kill Slipknot, and it's the threat of him killing them all that drives them, and of course it's Amanda Waller with the threat of killing the Enchantress at any point in time that keeps him invested. But I don't think that was completely necessary. Rick Flagg's a loyal soldier, and if they had just gone with that, I think that would have been solid enough. And I don't know, the acting, I don't know, he seemed a little too emotional and stuff sometimes, and
it was a bit all over the place.
Yeah, because he was hard ass sometimes, and then he'd get too soft. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think Rick Flagg's necessary for a sequel.
Not really.
No.
Not at all.
No, maybe cameo or whatever, but I wasn't overly impressed.
He didn't add much.
No, he didn't really add much at all. They just kind of had him in there for the Enchantress love thing to, have a love thing, I guess. I wasn't overly impressed with Rick Flagg, and I don't think many other people are going to be or will be. He ended up kind of being a throwaway they could have done. And then, let's talk about one of the best characters in this movie, I think, El Diablo.
Yes.
The actor who played El Diablo did a fantastic job portraying this tortured man who killed his killed his wife and children. But like that's it. He was this crime boss, up and coming. Nobody fucked with him, and he's got this he's got this firepower. And in the comics, and they don't really say in the movie, but he's possessed by a demon, which is why he has this power.
Okay, yeah.
So he is a badass when he does cut loose in this, but he refuses to fight. He kind of became a pacifist after he fucked everything up, and he just wants to live in silence and die in peace. Is essentially what he wants. And I think like his character portrayal, like you see the sadness and hurt behind his eyes through the first part, and then Will Smith, like that whole part you see in the previews, him slapping him in the face, like
trying to get him going,
trying to get you there, and he burns like 3 levels of this building, and they're all like, "Oh, I was trying to get you there."
Yeah.
Man, I just thought that was great, and you see the hurt in his eyes after he did that he didn't want to use. You could see that it hurt him, and then later on in the movie too, he kind of cuts loose again, and that was really cool. And I'll talk about when we get to the final fight scene bit, because right now we're still 20 minutes in and talking about characters. Yay! But it was good, and I like these breakdowns. I think it's good. And then Katana was cool. You don't learn a lot about Katana.
No, and she didn't have a ton of screen time either. I feel like we could have seen more of her.
Yeah, I think so too. But again, not a member of the Suicide Squad, but they're helping Rick Flag. Cool character. I really like her story. You know, anybody she kills with the sword, their soul is trapped in it. Her husband's soul is trapped in there. And in her backstory that you don't know about in the movie is the person who killed her husband was her husband's brother because he was in love with her.
Okay.
And then so she kills him and then takes the sword. But yeah, so she talks to the sword to talk to her husband and everything like that. And they show that a little bit, and that was really good. But I think she was really cool. She doesn't speak a lot. She doesn't do too much. She's there.
Just sort of there, yeah.
Yeah, she's there. She's good in the final act in the big fight at the end. But it was. I think she was good. I think she was put in there well, and I think she did a good job. And then I think that's about everybody else we need to talk about.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So then you get into the thing of the movie. You get Amanda Waller, who assembled Task Force S. She tests like Deadshot. You see her test him, and I think that was cool. The guard that they had that was pissing everybody off, he was a good job being a funny dick.
Yeah,
That was funny. What is that? This is loaf. What's in there? Oh, some Piscetti, fingernails, rat shit. Your phone's ringing.
My phone's ringing. I should be a good guest and turn my phone out. You, keep going.
That's okay. My phone's not off, but mine's on vibrate. But yeah, no, I think that was funny, and I think they played that guy pretty well. I mean, like, he was fucking with everybody, and then, like, he's down at a casino, and the Joker pays his debts, and then forces him into giving Harley a cell phone before they go out on their mission, so he could, save Harley. And then when they're sent out on the mission, you think the mission's going to be go and, stop the bad thing, and there's a big floating ring of garbage in the sky, and shit's going down, and no, they're just sent to, extract somebody. That's it. And I thought that was strange. And they go to extract Amanda Waller. Okay. But they don't tell them that. They say it's just a high-value target, and they've got to get him out. And they make their way there, and that's all the early fight scene and stuff. And it's good progression up there. The action's great. The characters being all pissed off and testing the nanites and stuff like that was really good. And, I mean, they know that they have to protect Rick Flag, so they protect him a few times. Because they realize that the monster things are after Rick Flag. And then... I mean, it was good dynamic, characters all through that. The action scenes were on point. We don't really need to talk about all that stuff was pretty on point.
Yeah.
And then you get to where they're rescuing their high-value target. It's fucking Amanda Waller. And it's like, all right, cool, I guess. And then they go to rescue Amanda Waller, and they get her, and they're all like ready to attack her or whatever. And she's like, I'll blow all your asses up. It's pretty much how it goes. And Killer Croc does this throwaway line, which was awesome. He just looks at her all angrily, and she walks away, and he's like, I like her. I liked that. That was funny. It was really good. But yeah, so then they go and they call their helicopter to the roof, and the helicopter comes to take them out, and it's been hijacked by the Joker. So the Joker then had fucked shit up and deactivates Harley's nanite because he fucked with the doctor who created him. Blah 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 blah. And then Harley he just unloads like a minigun all into them, so they're all hiding or whatever. And then Harley jumps onto this rope to get away with the Joker, and then Amanda Waller asks Deadshot to kill her, and he says no, and she's like, your freedom and your daughter, kill her now. And he's like, all right, you got it. He goes and he shoots at her, but he missed, and he missed on purpose. He's like, oh, I missed, because he never misses, right?
Yeah.
And then Harley and the Joker get away, and then Amanda's like, no, blow it out of the sky, and then they blow the helicopter out of the sky. Harley gets thrown off, and the Joker was going to get off with her, and he falls back into the burning helicopter, and it crashes and whatever. And then she just goes back to the group. But I could see why, the way they played her in this, that she did. Why she went back to the group.
Well, she's always... The whole movie, she's just had this air of confidence.
Yeah, but again...
Basically, I am God.
In truth, you can tell she does not want to be alone.
I guess, yeah.
Like, she had built this friendship with Deadshot, and they even state, oh, you're my friend too, right? They did that. Yeah. But you could tell that she's, well, especially with the Joker gone, dead, that she's scared.
Oh, Harley Quinn. I thought we were still talking about the lady they saved.
No, that's after.
Oh, that's...
I was going to get into that in a second. No, and Harley Quinn.
Yeah, oh, okay, yeah. Harley Quinn coming back to the group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that made sense. You know what? I liked that, and I liked that she came back, and I think it made sense to this story and the Harley Quinn they're using. That's why, because she's afraid of being alone, and without Mr. J, she's lost, and she even takes off her pudding necklace and throws it away. And I thought that was pretty cool, and you see the change in her a bit. She still plays crazy and everything after that, but you got to see that change a bit. But anyway, before she even comes back, she calls in another helicopter, Amanda Waller, to get her away, and then she's in it for all of 2 seconds, gets ripped out of the sky and taken by the Enchantress, which I mean could have happened earlier.
It was a long scene that didn't change anything in the film. Yeah.
No. Another thing with the Enchantress, where I think they kind of, shit the bed on it. I mean, why extract Amanda Waller? Why not make it one of the reasons they have to go do that is because maybe the Enchantress already had Amanda Waller, and that's why she's
so it would all end up in the same place anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, rather than going to get Amanda Waller and then going to get Amanda Waller again after this, and then figure out they have to fight the bad guys to do this. I mean, it should have just been, I think, going to fight this evil, because that's technically what they're brought for, is to stop these bad things, not silly extractions. They even say it's a suicide mission, like we're going in to do, and it's like they assembled it to stop even worse people or threats to the world. And so they go and they get to the helicopter. Amanda Waller's been taken by the Enchantress, and Enchantress is learning whatever through magic, everything that she needs to know about these secret military bases, and going to destroy them all and take over the world, blah, blah, blah. But they get there, and then Deadshot finds a briefcase on all this information that was not shared with them about how they knew what was going on, how the Enchantress was, in a relationship with that. And anyway, he gets all pissed off, and they're, like, ready to leave. And so they're all like, you know what, Will Smith's like, you can fucking kill me, I don't care. I'm going to go into this bar and have a drink.
Yeah.
And Rick Flagg's all like, oh, I need you, Deadshot, and they walk away. Everybody else follows him into the bar at that point, and even Katana's just, like, looking, and then shrugs off and goes in too. I thought that was funny. A little out of character from what they had portrayed so far, but it was...
Well, her job is to watch them and kill them if they do anything wrong, so I guess she's really just doing her job.
Yeah, but yeah, so then they all go into the bar, and in the previews there was a couple extra scenes that weren't in the movie that I kind of hoped were. Like, what am I, 6 with a glass, and what are you drinking, honey water? I think that should have been in there. That was a funny little scene, even though it was in the previews. I would have liked to have seen that in there. But this bar scene, so they're all kind of sitting around talking a bit, having a drink, and this is where you learn about El Diablo's past and how he murdered his wife and children by accident, and how he hates himself for it, but hope keeps coming around, and that's his thing for Deadshot. Deadshot said he has no hope left, and he's like, no, man, you have faith, hope comes around, because he became very religious after that and everything, and I liked that. And then they're all having their little moment, and then Rick Flag walks in, and Harley's like, we don't want you here. And again, Rick Flag comes in, and he kind of says his piece about how I love, this is the only woman I ever loved, blah, blah, blah. And they all weren't really giving a fuck. And he's like, well, I need you guys, but I got to go get her back, like Amanda Waller back, so, and June. And so he just kind of gets ready to leave. He breaks their little control device thing that can blow them off. He says, you're all free to go, and he gets up to leave. And before he does, he pulls out like a big handful of letters and throws them on the table for Will Smith, and like, your daughter writes you every single day. And this I thought was a little weird. And I kind of get it, but I mean, at that point, Deadshot's like, you had these the whole time, you had letters from my daughter this whole time, and you can't tell if he's gonna go like, fuck you and kill him, or like, but he ends up like kind of found it endearing, and he's like, you know what, I'm gonna fucking get you there, whether it kills me or not, we're gonna get you there. And we're going to fight. And I kind of like that, but I think there would have been a little bit of a better way to do that.
I'm not really sure how to phrase it. It wasn't forced or shoehorned. It
didn't feel right.
It didn't feel right for whatever reason.
Yeah. It just didn't feel right. But I mean, I did like the fact, of course, it was his daughter's driving force, and he's like, you know what, I don't want I'm going to go in there, if I die, I don't want my daughter thinking I was a piece of shit. They're going to know what we did. We did this. We saved, I thought that was a pretty strong thing, and a pretty good force for him, like, to show the change for his daughter, like, that he wants to be better for his daughter, and I think that was all right. And Harley's like, I'll come, which made sense for the Harley character, because what the fuck else is she going to do?
Wants to tag along, might as well.
Yeah, and this is, of course, after Jai Courtney just fucked off, and we talked about that already, fucking Captain Boomerang, who should have just stayed gone. But, No, and then she's like, what, you guys got something better to do? And I like how she said that to El Diablo, and Katana was going to come either way, but El Diablo, you couldn't tell if he was going to come or not. And, I mean, Harley and El Diablo had a weird little, like, moment in this where she, like, says, own that shit, you killed your wife, you killed your kids, own that shit, we're bad guys, own it. I liked that.
That was a good scene.
I liked that. And then, of course, El Diablo, and I honestly thought right away Killer Croc was going to come with, because they've kind of shown a bit that he still has some humanity. And it was good to show that, like, he is a bad guy, you know, kind of eats people, he is a cannibal. You didn't know that?
No, I knew that.
Okay. Yeah. So he eats people, but he wants to show some humanity, and I liked that, and I thought they would have come along. But I think they really should have went about that another way, like not just wanting to be heroes. I think they could have played it where it was just the threat of having their heads blown up, where they all did it together, and they all had their little reasons under the surface as to why. But I don't think it was entirely necessary to force the hero complex onto these people.
The world's going to end if we don't. We're the only ones who can do this. We might as well just do this.
We
but
have
yeah,
to do this.
They tried to all of a sudden change how we feel about them all in that one bar scene.
Yeah.
Give them all this big, you know, we love humanity thing, and well, not so much we love humanity thing, but you know, try and appeal to their human side all of a sudden.
Yeah, but I don't think it was completely necessary. I mean, the bombs in the neck is how they always did it in the comics, and that would have been more than enough driving force to keep it going. And you could have had it more of an underlying their humanity bits of why they wanted, like, because they don't want the world to end, the world that they have. I mean, they like being villains, they like being criminals, and they don't want to lose that. And a lot of times in previous things when shit's going down, that's what it is they don't want to lose their world.
Well, and the whole movie, we're doing this because we have to, not because we want to, and that was sort of the theme through the whole movie.
And then they just changed
right up
it.
Into this point, and then they're like, okay, now we want to.
Now we want to do this.
You should have stayed true to what the theme was and kept going, well, we have to do this too, let's go.
Yeah. No, and like that's how they could have had Rick Flag go in and talk to them and try to appeal to their humanity, but he still had that kill switch as a threat. And I mean, they still go with him, but I mean, he doesn't force them to do it, but he still has that, and they know that, so they still have to do it. I think that would have been cool, like a much more like better way to do it. So he tries to appeal to their humanity and just says, "All right, let's go," and they get up and go with him, but he's still holding the fucking device that can kill them. I think that would have been better. So then they go to this big Enchantress fight scene, and they say that they have to take out the big guy first. So the SEAL team that's with them goes under the water with Killer Croc, and Killer Croc says he's going with them, and they're like, no, we got this. He's like, boy, I live underground. You guys are just tourists. And he goes into this flooded subway, and so they go underground to set this bomb up because they plan on killing the big guy, Enchantress's brother, with this bomb, this big-ass bomb from underneath to surprise him. And so then the rest of the team kind of goes in to fight. And Captain Boomerang came back in the scene while we're walking there, blah, blah, blah. And then they all kind of sneak in.
I guess.
Sneak in.
She can see helicarriers coming in from miles away, but she can't see 10 guys walking up to her, but all right, I'll let it slide.
And then, so they're all kind of talking for a minute, and then she's just straight up like, I know you're there, and starts, like, talking to them. And Harley gets ready to walk out. Deadshot grabs her, like, no! And then she does this weird vision thing and shows them everything that they want.
Yeah.
Like, Rick Flag is with June Moon, and it's all love scenes. Like, oh, it was a bad dream. Deadshot's with his daughter, and that made him all happy, and he killed Batman. It's not so much that he's with his daughter, that he killed Batman and was able to then take his daughter. And Harley Quinn has this really cool scene where she's normal. Like, she's Harley Quinzel, and the Joker also just normal Jared Leto, normal guy.
Dude,
they have children together, and it's just this normal, happy life. And that's really what she wants. But because she's so in love and he's so crazy that she has to be crazy too. And it was a really cool character. Like, and then El Diablo, they show El Diablo's scene, and like, it's him with his wife and his kids, and he just goes, I can't change what I did, and neither can I, and he breaks free of the spell, and he kind of wakes everybody else up at the same time, and Harley's like, no, I want that. He married me.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool, and a reason why he could break out is because he has a demon in him, and I think they never touched on that, but that's why, right?
Yeah. And
I really like that it was his strength of character that also helped him break through, because, you know, he knows what he did, and he can't ever change that. And then so they go and they kind of start this fight with the brother, and they suck.
Yeah.
And then El Diablo starts trying to burn him and everything like that. And he's like, no, I got this. I'm going to show you what I'm worth. He's like, I lost one family already. I'm not going to lose another. And it's a good line, but they hadn't developed his character enough with the rest of them. I think
thought
to
it was
be
a little
family.
cheesy.
Yeah.
I feel like this whole fight scene was kind of kept devolving into a little more cheesy, a little more cartoony. Yeah. It reminded me of the Fantastic Four again, which is never good.
Never good. Mm-hmm. And I think it was. I don't think it's a good line and it's a powerful line, but I mean, it wasn't really necessary. They either should have had him. They forced him to kill those people because they tricked him, like made him mad, and then he fucking killed that. But if he had chosen to do it earlier to protect them, because he cared about them or like had some respect for them, I think then the line would have been better.
Or even without the line, even just for himself, just as an atonement for what he did.
Yeah.
You know, I killed my family, I'll kill myself for this.
Yeah.
Just not really said so much, but implied.
Yeah.
Where, you know, push him back and then just, of course, you know, the classic Jesus imagery or something,
self-sacrifice to save the mass, right? And then that's really cool, and he kind of gets beat up a bit, and then he says when he gets so mad he loses control and doesn't know what he did until after he did it. Mm-hmm. And then you find out why is because he turns into this big frickin' like
demon,
fire demon thing.
Yeah.
Which I did not think was too cheesy or weird at all. I mean, it makes sense because he's possessed by a demon. But from somebody outside, what did you think?
Surprised.
Yeah.
I thought it worked considering they already had the magic aspect in the film. It wasn't, you know, straight out of left field. And I thought it worked well. I thought the animation was a little, I don't want to say weak, but I'll go back to cheesy, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, it pulled me out of the film.
Okay.
It reminded me that I'm watching a movie, and then I kind of all right. And so, you know, you can see the strings if that's a saying. But no, I mean, aside from that, I think it was pretty good. Then they kind of had two monsters fighting each other, and it was a nice little surprise.
Yeah. And then the SEAL team get ambushed underwater, blah, 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 and then Killer Croc kind of tries to save them, saves the one guy, who then, of course, has to kill himself because there's only 1 second left on this bomb. And he goes there, and he's like, I'm in position, and he's like, Diablo, push him into the corner, and then he pushes him into the corner, he starts, like, burning through his chest to wreck his heart, and then doing that is, like, wasting his power, and he starts to change back into Diablo, like his human form, and then the guy chokes him down to the ground, and he's like, no, blow it, and Rick Flag doesn't want to do it, doesn't want to kill him, because, you know, he's trying to make the sacrifice, and even Deadshot's like, no, blow it, and they blow it all to hell, and kill the two of them in the crossfire, and then they have to fight the Enchantress. And so the Enchantress being kept alive by her brother's power. At this point, they got her heart back from Amanda Waller and put it back in her chest, so she's got her power back. But I think, so they got her heart back in her chest, so then she's got this, she's still in her pretty after my brother powered me up weird CGI cape thing with the big headdress thing, and the big glowy eyes, and I think because her weapon or her machine or whatever she was building was complete at this point. I think that when the brother died, I think she should have reverted back to that dirty.
Right at that moment.
Yeah, at that moment, because he was no longer sharing his power with her, which was keeping her alive. I think that would have been good to show her like that it did take some of her power away because her brother wasn't sharing the power anymore. Because then once they get into the fight scene, she switches back to that anyway.
And there's no explanation.
There's no explanation, no real reason why. So I think that would have been a better transition for that. I think that would have made more sense. And then they have this fight scene with the Enchantress where they're all trying to fight her and they can't really do anything, and they're all kind of just saving each other, and that's all it is.
Just trying to bide their time until someone figures something out.
Yeah. And then she gets these two swords, and they all just keep protecting each other and all this thing. And then Killer Croc comes out, smashes her against a wall, and throws her. And then after he comes back, she like teleports back and says enough, and just takes all their weapons away anyway.
Yeah. So what was the point of the whole first few minutes?
What was the point of the fight scene in the first in the first place? And she's like, you know what? You guys put up a good fight. You've earned my respect. I'm going to give you one more chance to join me, and the world will be like, you can serve under me, but you know, I'll give you everything you want. And Harley's like, she's like, fuck, what's the world ever done for us? And she goes to walk up to her, and she's like, I lost my pudding. Can you help me with that? She's like, yes, my child, just come serve under me, under my feet or whatever, and I'll give you whatever you want. Harley gets up and she says, kneel, and she starts to kneel, and Katana's katana was there, and then she just kind of pulls it up and cuts her chest and rips the heart out, and and then they fight again a little bit, and then or not fight. Then the bomb.
He throws the bomb in the machine,
and they do this really awkward slow motion, like supposed to be intense.
Didn't need the slow motion. I feel like it would have been better if it was fast.
Yeah.
To again highlight Deadshot's skill. If you really quickly throw the bag in, he just pops up and fires one off. But yeah, the slow motion wasn't.
Yeah, because then Harley throws Deadshot her gun that she still had on her, and then. Rick Flagg says, Croc, throw it, and throws a bomb at Croc, and Croc throws the bomb into this machine thing that's destroying military bases all around the United States. And, and then it's a super slow motion scene of Deadshot, like, lining up and taking the shot, and then they blow up the machine thing, and then she's all weakened. And
the one thing I really liked about that, it was a little tiny thing they threw in, but on the revolver it has love and hate written on it, and so as he's firing the trigger, it turns from hate to love because he's doing it for his daughter to save the world.
Yeah, and
that was a little thing that I really appreciated.
Yeah, and I think the only moment that needed to be slow-mo in there is Enchantress projects the daughter in front of him, saying, this is the only way we can be together, is if you don't...
One last effort to try and, trick him, yeah.
Yeah, and he just screams and takes the shot. But, I think that's the only part that would have needed to be in slow motion, because that would have been, like, in his head anyway, and he makes that choice. The whole scene being... it just felt dragged on, and it was kind of laughable.
I already knew what was happening. You don't need to slow it down.
It felt kind of laughable in that. Anyway, and then they blow up the machine, and Enchantress is all weakened and everything now, and her eyes are red instead of green, and her heart's gone, and she's all, like, crippling and everything like that. And then, Rick Flagg hugs Deadshot. He's like, that was such a good shot, and hugs him and everything like that. And Deadshot's, I'm not a hugger. It felt a little out of place, but it was funny.
It was funny. They threw a couple of jokes in there that were in the whole movie that were out of place, but still funny.
Still funny. So, we'll let it slide. But then, Enchantress is still alive, and they grab the heart, and they give it to Rick, and Rick's like, you bring June back right now, or I'll crush your heart, and that'll kill her. And she's like, you don't have the balls, June's never coming back.
That was another line I thought was really out of place, because the whole movie, the Enchantress is being this really mystic, magic creature, and she's, she's everywhere, kind of omniscient, and then all of a sudden she comes out with the line, you don't have the balls. And I'm like, you're not fighting a punk from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
You're fighting practically a demigod. There's a million lines they could have put in there, and that was one of the worst ones to me.
I agree.
That was just awful.
I agree. And then Rick just crushes the heart anyway, and he's all sad and turns away, and the Enchantress is, like, encased in this weird thing, and then it breaks out, and June Moon was luckily still alive and gets out, no, I love you, she's gone, and then fucking Amanda Waller just walks out, because everyone's getting ready to just leave, and they're going to go join the world, like, Deadshot's like, I got business to take care of with Gotham, and Harley's like, I'm going to steal a car, I need a ride, and everyone's getting ready to leave. Amanda Waller walks out with her little thing to blow them all up. And they're all like, Deadshot's like, how are you still alive? Which, again, how was she still alive? Yeah. Because, she was kind of hooked into that machine thing, and whatever. But then she's like, no, you get 10 years off your sentence. And they're all, like, really pissed off. And she's like, we just saved the world. Like, Will Smith's like, we just saved the world. He's like, I want to see my daughter. And so then she's like, she's like, all right, that can be arranged. Anybody else want anything? And Harley's like, an espresso machine. And everybody gets a little thumbing, and like Killer Croc's like, I want BET.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious, because he's in this like creepy little his cell at Belle Reve is like a in the sewer kind of.
Yeah, basically.
And it's cool to see that big like the plasma screen in the corner. Like after that, I thought that was cool. And then, frickin' Captain Boomerang's like, I want to be free. I don't want to be in prison anymore. And she's like, you got 10 years off your sentence. He's like, 10 years off a triple life sentence. Ooh. And he's like, no, I'm going to go. We're going to have a problem. And then he's locked in a solitary confinement cell. I like that. That was funny.
That was a suitable ending for his character.
Yes, it was. It was. That's what he gets for coming back. And then... and then, they show Deadshot with his daughter, and Rick Flagg standing, like, kind of in the doorway, just hanging out. And then he's helping his daughter with math, and I think there's a little, like, oh, so if you're standing on a building, going to shoot a guy down there. I thought that was really cool. That was funny. And then...
again, that was another joke that they stuffed in there. Because before, his daughter was talking about how he kills people, and she doesn't like it. Well,
but she
loves him, but she knows he does something bad, and she doesn't like that. And that was a big part of why he couldn't see her. And now they're doing math homework, and he's casually talking about how he shoots people.
And she made reference to it,
and she makes reference to it. I'm like, well, it's funny, but it's still out of character. Yeah. And it doesn't work, but it was still funny, but another minor thing.
Yeah.
But
yeah. And then he's like, honey, I gotta go. I promised my friends that, I'd go quietly and not kill them all.
Yeah.
Which is something he would say, but again, with the daughter characters, I don't think it was necessary. He should have said something a little more endearing, I think.
He could have said that whole thing and then just cut out the without killing them all.
Yeah.
And that would have been...
I promised my friends I'd go without a fight.
I'd go without a problem, yeah. And that would have been completely fine,
Yeah. And then it cuts to Harley, and Harley's sitting in her cell with her espresso machine, drinking with her
happy as all ever, yeah.
Yep, and got her espresso machine, and then... boom, big explosion. People break in, start killing guards, and it's the Joker. The Joker comes to break her out, and credits roll.
Yeah.
So,
which was no surprise. We all kind of expected that.
It's the Joker.
I did, anyway. It's the Joker. He doesn't die, and he's going to go get Harley.
Yeah, but, and so that's it. So, we cut the big first half of the movie. We really didn't talk much on because it was good. The pacing was good. The action was good. It was kind of right when they get to Amanda Waller after that. The last
and it kind of starts falling apart.
Yeah, and they really. That's kind of where the movie fell apart. Like the first 2/3, I said in the other review, 2/3 of this movie I think is really great and really worth watching, and then the last act kind of drops the ball. But it was good. Lots of good jokes in it. The characters playing off each other was great. Yeah, I just wish, and I'd like to see if they do an extended cut if there's other scenes that didn't make it in, because sometimes it felt like there could have been a few scenes that were just...
I feel like there's a lot of context we were missing from things that got cut out, and
yeah.
I feel like that'll probably be in the director's cut.
Yeah, or the extended cut like they did with Batman vs. Superman. I really liked the stuff they added in the extended cut for Batman vs. Superman. It added context. It didn't make the movie better, but it did add context to a lot of things that needed it. Granted, it made it a 3-hour movie, but... you know what? It was worth the watch for me to get that extra information, and it made it a little bit of a stronger movie. And this one, I would like to see if they do a similar thing, to see these extra scenes, to see if it gives some things more context. And yeah. So let's hear some of your thoughts.
All in all, I really enjoyed it. But again, like we said, last third, not so much Fantastic Four-y. I thought the music score was really good. A great song selections, forced at times.
Yeah.
I feel like they just they picked a character and then all right, let's leaf through my iTunes and find a song that goes well with this. All right, well, this will work. They threw it in, but I mean, the songs themselves were great, and I thought the cinematography was fantastic.
Yeah.
Great colors and lighting and darks and lights. It was really well. There were a couple scenes that were just beautiful. The Harley falling into the acid.
Yeah.
The chemical pit there, that was really beautiful, and then the swirling around.
Yeah, the colors swirling off their clothes from the acid bath.
Yeah, a couple of scenes like that were really nice.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. The cinematography was really well done, especially considering they went to a different editing house after they did the trailers that made them more lighthearted and like that crazy, colorful weirdness and music and stuff. But yeah, no, I think it was beautiful. It was a lot less dark, gritty, like tone-wise for the film, like you look at Man of Steel, and they the filters they put on it made it really dark and gritty. And I don't especially Man of Steel. It shouldn't have been. It's Superman. I mean,
Superman should be bright and vibrant and bold. Yeah.
And then in Batman vs Superman, it was a little less so, and there was a little more color, but still like darker
still
filter
very DC,
over the entire
dark, gritty.
And then this one had the color, and I like that it really didn't have too much of a filter, like a shaded to make their colors more bland or gray or anything like that. I like Deadshot's outfit is mostly red, and Harley has lots of color, and a lot of them did. They had color in their outfits, and I liked that. I think it made for a better viewing experience.
The amount of color in certain scenes really fit the feeling of that scene.
Yeah.
When they're doing their thing and they're killing and they're having fun, it's usually bright, vibrant colors, and they're they got all their good costumes on. And then when it's darker and sadder, the colors are darker and sadder.
Yeah.
It all matched up really, really well.
Yeah, no, they did a really good job with that. Their director of photography, good job, buddy. I don't know who you are, but good job, buddy. Because that's who sets up the lighting and all that.
We'll IMDb him later. Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe. But yeah, you know what? So it was a good movie, and now we're going to talk a little bit about Assault on Arkham, because I made him watch that, or I told him to watch that before we did the review. Because, as I stated a little earlier, I think they really should have kind of played it a little more like that.
Yeah, I thought they followed pretty closely For the most part. The beginning especially, gathering them all together and putting the chip in their neck and all that. The beginning followed actually quite closely to Assault on Arkham, and then, well, of course, two completely different plots.
Very different plots.
But yeah, I like both takes on it. I thought Assault on Arkham was really, really good. I enjoyed it a lot.
See,
do a whole review on that movie.
we could. But no, I really did. I mean, if you liked the Suicide Squad movie or you didn't like the Suicide Squad movie, go watch Assault on Arkham. Essentially, that you'll enjoy. I mean, the voice acting is all like great voice actors. I mean, it's fantastic. It's spot on. The characters are great. The development is great. Pacing is great, and it doesn't have a terrible third act. So essentially, that's what we're saying. And yeah, so guys, I guess we'll leave it there right about an hour now, which is, the usual length of my spoiler talk. So in the comments down below, please, I'd like to know what you guys thought of the Suicide Squad. We'll talk with you in the comments down below. Todd is a subscriber to my channel, so he can respond to you as well. I can respond to you as well. I'd really like to hear what you guys thought and what you guys liked, what you guys didn't like. What would you guys change about the movie? And anything you guys want to ask Todd? Anything. Alright guys, well thank you so much for hanging out with us if you've made it all the way through the video to the end. It's been great talking with Todd, so thank you Todd for coming out.
Thank you for having me.
Remember, the subscriber giveaway, game giveaway is still going on, so when we hit 100 subscribers, I will be giving a free game giveaway. A game of your choice. And so, yeah, we're still at about 71 subscribers. I haven't moved much, but hey, what are you going to do? But yeah, so when we hit 100, so every new subscriber to the channel gets one ballot in the draw, a bag full of names already. And if you recommend a friend to the channel and they leave a comment in this video or any other video that I've posted of your YouTube name or who you are, if I know you or anything like that, we'll find out who you are and we'll put another ballot in the draw for you. Gives you an increased chance of winning a free game of your choice. So yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Thanks for watching. And remember, have a great day. And stay awesome. And remember,
he is a classy broad.
Classy broad. Alright, thank you guys, and goodbye. It's hot in here.
A little bit.
So hot.
It's colder than my apartment.
Yeah. Walking in here is like a fridge. It's great. Until I close my door and it's hot as balls in here.